Okay, so look at The Forest at 21 by 9. This is a really great game. It combines a building mechanic that is instantly one of my favourite in any game I've played, with action and horror in both single and multiplayer settings. It's very well designed and, as I'll talk about in a minute, so worth your time to play. But first, the ultra-wide support. The game natively scales beautifully to use the entire screen width with no issue in every moment. Gameplay shows off more on the sides of the screen at all times, and there is a huge FOV slider to get the FOV you want. I stuck with 75, which was nowhere near the highest possible level. The HUD scales to the edges, screen effects stretch to cover the entire screen width, though sadly the stretch is very noticeable and it doesn't look great. All menus scale to span the entire width, with many elements shifting to the sides beautifully. There is only one cutscene at the start of the game where you see the crashing of your plane, but that too is an in-game moment, so it works perfectly at 21 by 9, there's no black barring. And the map is a physical object held in-game, so there can't be any issues there either. And yeah, that's it. The support is fantastic. Performance-wise, things are pretty damn good too. I was running highest everything settings. That was with HBAO manually selected, SMAA anti-aliasing, and all at an FOV of 75, and I held about the high 70s, low 90s FPS-wise on a GTX 1080 Ti at 3440 by 1440. It's a well-optimized title, and you shouldn't see large disparities in FPS from one place to the next, which is important. The only gripe I have is that occasionally, really just when I had, say, built a section of wall, as it became a solid entity, the game would freeze very momentarily, and it was always noticeable and a little annoying. Thankfully though, on the whole, this is not a common occurrence. Now, for online play, because it's pretty much only peer-to-peer, there can also be bad lag there, depending on the host's connection, but that's hardly the game's fault. Only I wish it would show the server's ping number so you could see what was potentially playable or unplayable server-wise. So The Forest is a simple game in premise. Build and survive. You have crashed on an island for some reason. This blood-covered man-devil thing has taken your child and you need to find him. Kind of think the TV show Lost, but a lot better. So once you've crash landed, you have a survival guide with lots of tabs that essentially are all the things that you can build in the game, and you have an axe. That's it. You're simply left to your own devices as to what you can build and how you're not only going to live from day to day, so finding food and clean water, but also fighting off the cannibal demon things on the island as well. These monsters come at night usually, though can be found during the day too, but not very often, and they quite simply want to rip you apart. They live underground in these sinkholes scattered around and breed and hoard resources down there. Now there is a gripping tale to the game, a story that you can uncover, find out what is going on and the history to the place, and there is indeed an actual ending to the game, at which point creative mode is unlocked. The story and secrets to the game are properly riveting, and there is a lot more than meets the eye initially. The peninsula where you crash is no ordinary place, and your crash was no accident. I really like these creepy tales in games, and this certainly is worth playing through. Beyond the story, the gameplay is very good too. So crafting is robust and very open. There is a ton of stuff you can build, from buildings to defenses to storage to, well, like everything. There is some stuff you can't craft and you have to find, like rebreathers for swimming or better axes or explosives, and this stuff is all pretty much found way underground in caves and secret facilities. So it forces you to not sit around on the surface, but to venture into the properly scary caves. And the caves are very freaky. You only have a lighter for a light source, and the darkness is thick and totally envelops you as you explore. You must also constantly think about food and water, not to an annoying degree where you can't do anything but worry about that stuff, but it is always in the back of your mind. And if you do die, inverted brackets, from dehydration or lack of food, you wake up way underground, tied up by your feet, and you need to escape and get back to your camp, which is usually a mile away. I should note you can also only save your game by building a structure of some kind, and this applies for both single and multiplayer. Graphically, this is a gorgeous game. The world just looks beautiful. The lighting is really what sells it. There is actually also a color grading setting that you can switch between a ton of different settings, from darker colors to brighter, happier ones. And it isn't that the game is some crazy detailed environment, but it just works well with what it has. It really feels like an uninhabited stretch of land, unvisited by people, until of course you explore and find the remnants of travelers gone by. Multiplayer allows you to play with up to 7 other people, and it's genuinely so much more fun playing with others, but of course this brings its own share of problems. Now, whilst playing online is hard for a lot of people to do with friends they know, as getting friends to play at the same time, or even getting friends who are interested in the same game as you can be difficult. However, the random people I ran into were generally very welcoming. People liked working together to build big and strong bases and explore successfully. However, you will run into those people who just want one kind of language spoken in their servers, or just simply don't want others to play at all. You can, of course, always create your own server to play on, and others can join in. And really the only issue with online is, of course, lag, because it's only peer-to-peer networking. If a host has a bad connection, the lag on the server could be very bad, so bear that in mind. And unfortunately, like I said, the game doesn't have an ability to see server ping numbers, so you're completely guessing as to what you're in for when you select a new server. Now, one little effort is the need to go through the whole crash landing thing every time you enter a server or a new single player game, and the skip option doesn't allow you to skip every bit of the scenario. But that said, it's not a huge point at all, just something I came across when I was playing. And yeah, that should give you a good introduction to the game, what you're in for and what there is to do. I genuinely am not a massive fan of the horror side of the game. The nighttime and caves are genuinely scary, and I do as little in there as possible. But I keep wanting to play the game because the building mechanics are so fantastic. You can build a massive variety of things, and it really is open to your imagination. The game is still being developed, so I expect more new stuff to be added in time. But yeah, right now it gets an easy recommendation from me. I'm also going to give it a WAF score of 5, as everything in the game supports 21x9 beautifully, from cutscenes to menus to gameplay. The whole lot is lovely for us. So I hope that gives you some information on how the game runs at 21x9. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, and subscribe for future info. For another games at 21x9, head over to my channel or the WAF website. Hopefully I've covered it. If I haven't, then leave a comment down below and I'll try and cover it. And if you'd like to support the channel, the links to my Patreon page are in the description, and Amazon affiliate links are there too. See you later.